afternoon to all of you. If we may think about water, we close our eyes and think about water. What comes to our mind? Is the visuals coming in? Let's give ourselves 5 seconds. Possibly, as you think about water, you would think about maybe the blue ocean, the raindrops, serenity, waterfall, and crystal clarity. Possibly some of you might say that water is the essence of life, without which nothing can survive. Our human habitation has been around water, and if there is no water, nothing can survive. But let's take a look at what water is in Kathmandu. Water in Kathmandu looks like this. If you look into any dhunge dharas of Kathmandu, or Patan for that matter, what you'll find is empty dhunge dharas and only a line of empty utensils waiting for the water to come. Water hardly comes home. But at the same time, if you look into water, you'll find water like this as well. This is a shot from Jamal overhead bridge, and you have got so much of water. Kantipat is inundated. It almost looks like this is a street of any street of Venice, where there is gondolas moving all around. But the irony is that just next to this Kantipat, Rani Pokhri is starving of water. If you look into other options of water, what do you have? One is groundwater that we have to depend on, which is completely impure. It has a lot of turbidity, and you have to do a lot of filtration before you drink. And the next is water tanker supply. They're doing an amazing service, but it's difficult to get. You don't know where the water source is and where it comes from. So water has become a perennial problem. Water scarcity has become an absolutely big problem in Nepal, more so in Kathmandu. I have been a victim of water. In 1985, I'll take you back, where I was a student then. I studied in Kalimpong. Therein around that time, the Gorkhaland agitation was going around, and getting water was very, very difficult. I used to study in Dr. Ram's homes, and I used to stay in the bazaar. It was almost 3-kilometer uphill walk that we used to take every day. And our school used to start around 8 o'clock, and we had to start from home around 7:15. But before that, we had to fetch water, and we had to get up 4 o'clock in the morning or before to get water. And we had to use something like this. It's a photograph, fairly old, and this was called Maruti in Kalimpong. We had to fetch water in our utensils, and we were rationed only 60 liters a day. And we had to do everything with that 60 liters in the family. Washing clothes was going to the Reli Khola, the Reli River. And I promised to myself that in my professional life, I would not want to stay where there is water problem. But then, when I did, there was no water. And what did I do? Being the busy person, we called for water tankers. And I was buying 2 water tankers a month. And I promised to myself that if I do make a house of my own with my own money, then the first thing that I'll look into is that I do not want to have water problems. I do not want water scarcity in my house. So I was trying to look for a solution, what to do, how to move around. Then I met Tyler McMohan. We are part of the Everest Toastmasters Club, and he came in to deliver a talk on rainwater harvesting. And he said that rainwater is good. You can do it. You can use it. It's very, very good. And I was sitting as a skeptical person in the audience, as I call myself at that point in time an educated ignorant, very, very skeptical about what he was saying, and thinking, is this a solution? After his presentation, I talked to him saying that, look, I'm making my house. Can you help me? He said, sure. And I said, how do you do it? Because he's an American. He said that I've got 3 friends, and I can bring them over to your place and see what is being done. So when he came over with the 3 friends who were technical people, they suggested us to change certain pipings, to put in a rainwater harvesting tank, and all the wherewithals. The total investment was less than 150,000. And 3 years ago, I shifted into that house. Until now, I do not have water problems. During the monsoon, I live out of rainwater. And the water is so much that it overflows, and the overflow of the water goes into the well. I recharge my well. During the dry months, I pull out water from the well, push it through the biosand filter, and all the taps in my home are potable water. It's possible. I did not have to take KUKL connection also. Then I figured, I said to myself, there must be so many more educated ignorants like me who could be benefited out of this simple system, simple technology. And I talked to Tyler, and I said, look, this seems to be a fairly good proposition. Why don't we do something? I'm used to doing a lot of startups. Some work, some doesn't. And this was another venture that I was looking into. And I was purely doing it in the fact that if you give water the essence of life, you are doing karma. And in the beginning, I felt that even if we do not make money, it's okay, because you're doing so much of social good. So we brainstormed. They were almost at the verge of opening a company. I was there just to give that nudge, and then started what we call as Smartpani. We looked into the problem, and we did not come back without doing anything in that problem. We found an opportunity in that problem, and therefore Smartpani was born. A lot of people ask, why Smartpani? Because I personally believe that in Nepal, we are very, very brand conscious. Whether we buy a Chinese Adidas shoes, we're still buying Adidas or Nike shoes. So people look into loyalty. People look into that belief that if they want a brand, they will buy it. And we need to have a combination of Nepali and an English word. And we said that why not Pani, which is almost prevalent in South Asia as well, and make it smart. So therefore, Smartpani was born. With Smartpani, we thought we could do a lot of social good. So we said, why don't we try to find in more about what happens in Kathmandu? We did a lot of research. In that research, we found that Kathmandu is growing very, very rapidly. The rate at which Kathmandu is growing is double the national average. Kathmandu is growing at 4.7%, the population. And with that, the scarcity of water is increasing. The official figures of KUKL, which supplies water, says the total demand per day is 360 million liters per day. And they are only able to supply 90 million liters per day, or lesser. Which means that in the dry months, you will only get water once in 4 days or once in 5 days. And we have seen that that frequency is decreasing. If you look into the older structures of Nepal, or Patan for that matter where I stay, the old house that I lived did not have a water tank because we never required. Kathmandu was supposed to be the bowl of water where mythologically Manjushri came in and cut that gorge in Chobar where all the water flowed out. At that point in time, only Swayambhunath was visible. And when you dig 2 feet in any area in Kathmandu, you have water. But no longer, because water is receding very, very fast. Till 2 years ago, if you're building a house, you just dig a hole and you have water. You never had to buy water. But from 2 years on, water is now a component of the BOQ that goes into constructing buildings. Now you have to buy water because there is no longer water there in the ground as well. Let me take you through the pictures that I found. And through research, we saw that if you look into this picture, you'll find that the green component that you see is cultivated land, and the red is the urban center. This was in 1976, when I was still about to finish my Montessori. The blue lines are the rivers, the water bodies. Fast forward to 1989. Just look at the red patches. It has increased. This is a time when I was finishing my +2. And this is 2001. Observe the red patches. These are the urban settlements that have come. It is positive in the sense that Kathmandu was growing very, very fast and the development was happening. But at the same time, the land was getting sealed. To the extent, in 2009, Kathmandu looks like this. And in 2014, it is worse than this. What does this mean? That total 48 billion liters of rainfall is now no longer recharged. Earlier, the water used to fall into the cultivated land. It used to seep in and recharge into the ground. That was the nature's cycle. Therefore, we had a lot of water. But now, there is no water because we as human habitants, because we created structures that are impregnable, water now flows out from the properties that we have into the drains, and now we jokingly say that it reaches Bangladesh. We don't get that water. If you look into the rainfall data in Kathmandu, you will find that there is rainfall throughout the year. This is a collation of 10 years data. And you'll find that for at least 7 months, there is no problem on rainwater. How much of rainfall is there in Kathmandu Valley? It is 1600 millimeters. What does that mean? It means that it is the amount of water that is equivalent to how much Milamchi is going to bring in the first phase. That much of water we have every day, every year. And we have been wasting it. And earlier, like me, we have had educated ignorance, where during monsoon, when the rainfall is there, when there is rain, you are standing outside your residence with your umbrella, waiting for a water tanker to come in. How ironic that can be. If you look into how water can be used, a single person consumes 70 liters per day, an average Nepali. That also, if that average Nepali takes a bath every day. Now that's questionable. But even if we assume that they do, if you have 4 people in the family and multiply that with 365 days, your water requirement is just 102,000 liters. But if you have a 3 Anna plot, nowadays Kathmandu's residents have gone so smaller that now you have a property of 3.5 Anna. But if you have a square meter, 100 square meter, which is roughly around 1,000 square feet, which is around 3 Anna, if you have a roof, you can collect 160,000 liters of rainfall, and you throw the first 20% out because there could be polluted dust, bird droppings, so on and so forth. If you take that out, you will be left with 128,000 liters of water, which is more than a family of 4 requires in a year. Somehow we have forgotten that our forefathers were so good that even now in some of the Dhungedharas we still see water coming. That's because they were very, very mindful of the fact that water is essential and is important. But somehow, as we have become westernized, as we have adopted a lot of good things of the Western world, we have forgotten some of the good things that we also had. Why should we forget? If this is possible, why not? So we moved on to say that let's look at it. And as a company, we sell three options or three systems. One is rainwater harvesting system, where you collect the rain, you want to harvest this, you want to store it, or at the least, if you do not store it, recharge. Second is the biosand filter, where once you use a biosand filter, which is again a natural process, your groundwater can be converted into potable water, depending on the quality of the raw water. It removes turbidity, it removes iron, it removes even manganese to a certain extent. It only does not remove ammonia. This is possible to do. This is doable. And the next is wastewater treatment. In the household, we do not go in for a total wastewater, but we say gray water. Now, what is gray water? There are different types of water. Gray water is those water where you use it for your shower, for your laundry, and in your kitchen. If you look into calculation, you'll find that almost 70% of your water uses is in these three things. Imagine if you can recycle this, which is possible. Through these simple plants, what you'll have is a filtered water, which is not potable, but you can recycle it in your bathroom and put it in a cistern. So when you flush recycled water and not the water that you have bought. It is possible to do. It is doable. If you can recycle that, think about pashmina factories. They use 50,000 liters a day. Think about carpet factories who use so much water a day. Think about hotels. One of the 5-star hotels we went, they use 10 lakh liters a day. Can you imagine? This, if it is recycled, then you have so much of water. It's possible to do. So, was it easy? When we started this as entrepreneurs, everybody said, don't do it. It's a bad idea. We went to water experts. They said that, no, Suman, this is the work of the NGOs and the NGOs. Without funds from outside, how can you do this? It's not possible. And to some to whom we went to, they said, come back and talk to us when you do 50 systems. Everybody discouraged us. But we knew that at a certain point, water scarcity is there, and we tried to find out the link between who would want to buy it and who would want to install these systems. We wanted to move forward, and at these times, we wanted inspiration. We wanted to inspire ourselves. And one of the inspirational things that I do is to turn to mythology. And therein, I found the word geography in Nepali, which means Bhugol. If you break that word, Bhu is the earth and Gol is round. Somehow, our people in the past knew that the world was round before Apollo was sent up to the space, and to see that, to take a picture and say that world is round. We somehow knew it before that. In our ethos, in our mythology. That means we are empowered people. Why can't we do it? Why is it not possible? And we wanted to move forward. Even now, when we have done a lot of good work, we still get 90% rejection. From people who said that, yes, I understand this requirement and I want to do it, but still, they never come back. But still, we prod on. And we wanted to find out as to why this is happening. It's happening purely because of perception. Purely because whatever happened in Nepal has happened through a grant of an NGO or an NGO-led activity. Not that they are bad. Yes, it is very good. At a ground level, at the BOP, it's very important that they do work. But after that, what happens is, after 3 years of the project, they go away. And the project is no longer there. So the perception is that rainwater harvesting does not work. It is a bad idea. And the other thing that comes back to us is, if it is working, then the cost must be very, very high. We tell them that it's cheaper than an iPhone. As households, in a family of 4 nowadays, adults, everybody is carrying a phone. be it a Micromax or a Nokia or a Carbon or now Samsung and iPhone. If 4 people get together, you're already spending so much of money on individual pleasure, as I would call it, but do not want to spend 50,000 on doing rainwater harvesting or adding biosand filter. So who has done it? Vinod Bhattarai, a journalist, and then you have Saraswati School in Thecho. This school had 500 students, and before we went in, there was a water problem. Toilets were very, very difficult to go to because they were very, very smelly. But then, once we installed rainwater harvesting and the excess goes into the well, now they do not have any problems during the monsoon months. And the excess of water that used to earlier go out of the school, now they recharge 26 lakh liters every year. And the number of people increase as individuals as well as institutions. So a lot of people started to do it. And the success rate is getting better. Till now, we are closing on to 3 years. We have done over 230 systems, big and small. Our total recharge has crossed 50 million liters per year. That's what we have been able to achieve. We have impacted more than 15,000 students of more than 22 schools that we have interacted with. As said earlier, we were facilitated for the good work that we had done. And as Smartpani, we are now featured in as a case study at Yale University, so that this is replicated. Why in Nepal? Is because it's been said that if there is a third world war, the war is not going to happen because of nuclear problems, but it's because of water problems. Water as a resource is under immense threat earlier on. And everywhere there's a problem. Look at Singapore. We all like to go to Singapore. We all want to go to there. We have been there as well. But very few people know that Singapore was carved out of Malaysia because there was less water. And in 50 years, they had to be water reliant. And if you go there and if you drink the new water in Singapore, that water is recycled water. If Singapore can do it, why not Nepal? Similarly, in other countries, you have so many examples. And if other countries can do it, if people in Nepal can do it, if I have done it, why can't you? Or at the least, what can you do? What I say is, the least that you can do is to love water, respect it. That's the least that you can do. Because unknowingly, we might be committing a social crime. That one crime that you're doing is pulling out water from the ground. That is one crime. That is, water is not yours. The second is we are not putting it in. That's the second crime. We call it the double negative. The third thing that you can do is to see and do some rainwater harvesting. If you cannot store, the least that you can do is recharge. Let the water that falls in your property not go out. Make a small hole. Call us. We'll let you know how to do it. It's possible to do. And if you want change, the change has to start with you. Not tomorrow, but today. And what can you do today is that wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant that you're going, for a seminar that you're attending, ask for only half a glass of water. Not that you want to drink only half a glass. If you want more, drink more, but do not waste water. That change you can start from today. And I feel that it is impossible to be the change. Thank you very much.